Hi, welcome to part 8 of electromagnetic induction. In this video, I'll explain the solution of question number 6.6 given in page 230 of NCERT Physics Part 1. The question says that there is a circular coil of turns, n turns equal to 20, and it has a radius of 8 centimeter and it is rotated along the vertical diameter, and it is placed in a uniform magnetic field of strength B is equal to 3 into 10 to the power minus 2 Tesla. So we have to obtain first the maximum EMF E0, E average, maximum current, average power loss, and the source of this power loss. So we have a coil of 20 turns which is rotated about the vertical diameter. So because there is induced EMF, your mind should go to the fact that there is change of flux. Flux is given by B dot A, which is equal to BA cos theta. Theta is the angle between the magnetic field and area vector. So change of flux could be due to dB dt or due to dA dt or due to d theta dt. In this case, since the magnetic field is uniform, B is constant and dB dt is 0. Because there is no change in the area of the coil, area enclosing the flux, as the coil is rotated, A is constant and dA dt is equal to 0. So d phi dt is due to d theta dt, that is the change of angle as the coil is rotated. Change of angle between the area vector and the magnetic field. So phi being equal to BA cos theta, B and area vector, if the coil is rotated by an angle theta in time t seconds, angular speed can be written as theta by t, or theta could be written as omega t. So phi can be written as BA cos omega t. So d phi dt can be written as BA d by dt cos omega t. Induced EMF is written as minus d phi dt. The minus sign is because of Lenz's law, is explained by Lenz's law, that the induced current always opposes d phi dt. The current induced by induced EMF opposes d phi dt, the reason why we have a negative sign in Faraday's equation. Now for n turns, induced EMF becomes equal to minus n d phi dt. So this could be written as minus n BA d by dt of cos omega t. So again, induced EMF is equal to minus n d phi dt, which becomes equal to minus n BA d by dt of cos omega t. this becomes equal to cos, differentiation of cos is minus sine, so NBA, the minus goes away, NBA omega sine omega t. So E can be written as E0, the entire thing can be written as E0 sine omega t. E max is equal to E0 when E max is equal to E0 because maximum value of sine omega t is 1. So E max becomes equal to E0. E0 is equal to NBA omega. So N is equal to 20, B is equal to 3 into 10 to the power minus 2, A is equal to pi r square, so pi can be written as 3.14, r is 8 by 100 whole square into 50. So we get a value of 0.6 volts. So we know the maximum value of E0 is 0.6 volts. So E can be written as E0 sine omega t. Now we need to know what is E average. So the coil which is rotated about the vertical diameter takes a total time of t to go through full angle of 2 pi. So the total time taken by the coil to cover 2 pi is t. Then omega can be written as angular distance by time. So here, if we have to find out E average for the full time t, we can write it as E average is equal to E0 by t and integrate this from 0 to t sine omega t. So this becomes equal to E0 by omega t and minus cos omega t from 0 to t. So taking the minus out, it becomes minus E0 omega t by cos omega t minus cos 0. As I said, omega is equal to angular speed is equal to angular distance by time. Omega can also be written as E0 by omega t cos 2 pi by t into t minus cos 0. So this is equal to minus E0 by omega t. This becomes cos 2 pi minus cos 0. So this part becomes equal to 1 minus 1. So E average becomes equal to 0. Now E is equal to E0 into sine omega t. Current is equal to E0 by R sine omega t. This can also be written as I0 sine omega t. So I becomes equal to I0, I max becomes equal to I0 because the maximum value of sine omega t is 1. And I0 is equal to E0 by R, that is 0.6 by 10, it becomes 0.06 amperes. Now we need to know the average power. So before that we find out what is power. Power is also written as E into I, that is E0 sine omega t into I0 sine omega t, which can also be written as E0 I0 sine square omega t. So power is written as E0 I0 sine square omega t. So we can divide the numerator by 2 and multiply the numerator by 2. So, and find out P average. So P average is again for the coil to cover the full 2 pi angle, and this the coil does in say time t seconds. Then omega is again equal to 2 pi by t. Angular velocity is equal to angular distance by time. So P average can also be written as total time in the total time 2t, 2, you divide it by t and integrate it from 0 to t 2 sine square omega t dt. So this you get as E0 I0 by 2t, and this can also be written as 1 minus cos 2 omega t dt. So this becomes equal to E0 I0 by 2t, and here you get the first term you get as t minus 0, and the second term you get as 1 by 2 omega sine 2 omega t from 0 to t. So we see that this term is equal to t. So E0 I0 by 2t into t minus this part becomes equal to 0. So your average power is equal to half into E0 I0. Now power average is equal to half E0 I0. We put the value of E0 as 0.6 and I0 as 0.06, and we get the value of power as 0.018 watts. Now this loss is due to the fact that the induced current, while the coil is rotating in this direction, it is rotating due to an external source, which is a rotor, external source, it's a rotor, and while the coil is rotating, we have seen that there is induced EMF. Because of induced EMF, there is induced current. Because of the current, there is a torque produced, and this torque forces the coil to rotate in the opposite direction. So the rotor has to do extra work to overcome this torque to make the coil rotate at a constant angular speed. So this work done by the rotor is seen as heat loss. So in case of any clarifications, you can log on to www.olympiadtester.com/mentor. Thank you.